We need to talk about the Donald Trump rally in Pennsylvania this weekend, because in case you, for whatever reason, missed it, from just 130 yards away, there was an assassination attempt.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
And in spite of just having been shot at, he still manages to have an iconic moment.
Watch out.
And tabloids captured pictures of the bullet being just inches away from him, as well as his bloodied face, and the moment of him putting his fist up in the air. But even though Trump ultimately survived, Corey Comparator, a fire chief, husband, and father, was killed in the attack. After which his daughter made a statement on Facebook, saying what was supposed to be an exciting day that we all look forward to, especially my dad, turned into the most traumatizing experience someone could imagine. That he was the best dad a girl could ask for, and if you needed anything, he'd be there, and even if he didn't know how, he'd figure out. That the media won't tell you he died a real-life superhero, or how quickly he threw her and her mom onto the ground, and shielded their body from the bullet, and how much he loved his family. Meanwhile, you have liberal streamer Destiny disparaging the man who died. Which, how much of a piece of crap do you have to be to say something like that? I mean, it's one thing to disagree politically. It's a whole nother thing to pour salt in the wound of a grieving family, who, by the way, my heart truly does go out to all of you. May God be with you during this very difficult time. But despite how terrible this all turned out, the mainstream media decided to downplay it. A couple cases in point, ABC News called it loud noises ringing out. Similarly, you have Washington Post saying the same thing, and MSNBC calling it popping noises. Which I understand that we don't want to jump to conclusions or post false information before we have all the facts, but to call it simply popping noises even before someone was confirmed dead is a gross misrepresentation. And what might make you even more upset is the testimony of somebody who attended the event.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. We're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see...
And DC Drainer called out the Secret Service for leaving the roof wide open, saying the Secret Service had eyes on the shooter, accusing them of waiting to take the shots, amounting it to a setup, then calling out how he was able to walk around the fairgrounds with a rifle undetected and bring a giant ladder onto the roof closest to Trump, once again calling it an inside job. And Dan Bongino also called out the failure.
You're telling me the best technology you have was deployed and you missed a shooter 130 yards? Say it was 200 yards. The question we have to ask is, if that's the best technology we have, and we had a CS team up there with a shooter that, we're trained out to 1,000 yards in the Secret Service with the counter sniper team. How did they miss someone at most, 1/5 of the way there? It doesn't make any sense. And even worse, it's broad daylight on a white roof. So was there forward-looking infrared deployed? Was there aerial support, drones, helicopters? The evacuation did not go right. I mean, the rule with the Secret Service is cover the protectee and evacuate. The other rule is maximum to the protectee, minimum to the problem. The failure here is absolutely catastrophic. And I got to tell you, the Secret Service should be very careful. I can tell you and absolutely confirm from the horse's mouth, from multiple people, not just one. And I saw Congressman Waltz text this out before on X. There have been repeated requests to increase the security footprint around not just the residences of Donald Trump, but the body itself. And they have been rebuffed. Like I said, I can tell you actual quotes. The Secret Service directors completely failed and candidly should resign today. So just to be clear, we're a $4 trillion United States government and we can't fork over enough money to keep our people alive?
Then bringing DEI into the question.
This is what the Secret Service was concerned about. They put out, 1,000 tweets about all of this DEI stuff. Do I know that's related here? I don't. I'm just saying, you have one job and only one job. Your job is keep the body alive, no matter what. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, the president of Djibouti, it doesn't matter. That is your job. They absolutely, resolutely, 100% failed. Not a single excuse should be made. Not a single excuse should be attempted.
And DC Drano again posted a joke on IG about the Secret Service before and after DEI, as that same security detail was crouched behind Trump during the shooting instead of protecting him. And while they're escorting him away, they're clearly struggling. See right there, one struggling to holster her gun. Meanwhile, another one's fiddling her shades instead of focusing on getting Trump to safety. And it's revealed this about the U.S. Secret Service.
Expand hiring. They're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030, and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
But I'm very conscious as I sit in this chair now of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce.
And now that chief is facing calls to resign. And I'm all for equal opportunity and everybody feeling that they belong. But in a job like this, we shouldn't prioritize diversity quotas over the safety and life of another individual. I'm not being sexist. I'm simply stating that this isn't the time for wokeness. But anyways, the shooter, who was identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel, Pennsylvania, who was found to have been a registered Republican, and at the time of the shooting was wearing a logo of the Demolition Ranch, which is a very large YouTube firearms-related channel. But at the same time, records show he made a donation in 2021 to Act Blue, which is a progressive PAC. And in Pennsylvania, you must be registered with one party or another in order to vote in the primary. And that's how the mainstream media spun the story, as if being a registered Republican somehow changes everything. Because you have the views Anna Navarro, who said that she's a registered Republican, but also donates to the Democratic Party. She's been critical of the NRA to the point where she made a post saying, get her name the hell off her list for being complicit in the face of mass shooting epidemic afflicting America. And you also have the views Alyssa Farrer Griffin, who was the White House Director of Strategic Communication and assistant to the president in 2020 during the presidency of Donald Trump. But she left that position, even going to testify against Trump. So Anna and Alyssa show that it really doesn't matter the party you're registered with. And then you have Biden on July 8th saying we're done talking about the debates. And in that same statement saying it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. And 5 days later, there's an attempt on his life. Unfortunate pairing of words? Coincidence? I'm no conspiracy theorist, but Alex Jones is, and certainly had some thoughts on it.
This is a maximum alert concerning the future of our country, our republic, and the world. The Secret Service stood down. It is the default to have Secret Service and or law enforcement on every rooftop up to a half mile out or further. Those rooftops were 450 feet away. No one was on the rooftops. That is not a failure of security. That is a stand down. JFK gave the order to start the withdrawal of U.S. troops, and 1 month later had his head blown off in Dallas, Texas in 1963 at Dealey Plaza. Trump has said he will end the war in Ukraine overnight. The U.S. funds 80% of it. And I told you this week over and over again that they're going to try to assassinate him before the election, and then during the 79 days that he's president-elect, until he gets sworn in January of 2025, is the 79 days of hell. The globalists have already said they're going to have civil unrest. They're going to call it a racial civil war. So let's be clear. Trump will now win in a landslide. No amount of fraud can override this. So if the deep state has already tried to kill him and indicted him and found him guilty and tried to take him off the ballot, what are they going to do? They are going to try to kill Trump. Now, listen to me carefully. I've studied the enemy. The fact that they didn't have law enforcement that augments them on the rooftops is just insane. That's the number one place that shooters come from, is nearby rooftops. That's just a default fact. They also haven't given RFK Jr. any Secret Service. They murdered his uncle and his father. The same deep state. So Trump is in maximum danger of poisoning, truck bombs, the globalists might hijack a plane by remote control, flight into Mar-a-Lago. I'm not being alarmist. But I know Trump should be in a bunker at this point, and he should directly be charging the deep state for what they've done and call for governors to move, Congress to move, and to start dismantling the deep state right now. These people are not going to stop, okay? And I told you, if they kill Trump, the next move would be a truck bomb or something like that at a black church or a black college to blame it on Trump supporters. And you saw the media try to spin this for the first 5-6 hours saying it wasn't even an assassination attempt. And let me tell you something. They get Trump, they're coming after the Republican leadership that are good, the ones that are good. They're coming after Senator Paul, they've already tried to kill repeatedly. Remember the shootings and all the attacks? And they're going to come after Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and others because they know we won't sell out. And of course, one other person is right up there with Trump on the hit list, and that's Elon Musk. And I told Elon he better get more security with Tucker Carlson a month ago. And if I was Musk, I'd be moving around all the time, which you know he already does. When the shooting doesn't work, they go to poisoning and they go to truck bombs. Or they remote control hijack a jet and fly right into your house. Okay? This isn't a game. This is 100% real. 2 o'clock Central. It'll all be posted on Infowars.com and right here on X or Alex Jones. God bless you, folks, but we're fighting the New World Order now. And they're out in the open, and they're going for broke because they're desperate. To the globalists and to your minions, surrender now or be destroyed.
Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Jones. Having said that, I do see some sort of pattern, in a sense, aka the sham trial with Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels. Then you have the security failing, and then you have Joe Biden using that sort of rhetoric that is kind of scary, not going to lie. And whether or not you personally agree with Alex Jones, it does give way to conspiracy theorists like him. And you do have to look out for patterns. And quite frankly, with the way that things are going, I think we're on the brink of a civil war. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, hopefully I've earned a subscription. Here's some videos for you to watch in the meantime. Until next time, peace out.